the row. Zach just asked me, and if you, excuse me, Zach just asked me if I'm ready. I've always been ready, even though I just stuttered. We're
Come on
talking
now.
about the NBA playoffs. We're talking about the Mike Trout injury. We're talking about MLB predictions, the rest of the year, the awards, the playoffs. Welcome, Dreamers. Welcome, Hotheads. Welcome, Sixers. We're about to crush this.
Let's go.
Episode 3 in the second iteration.
It up. Talking about that good shit. Like the fucking Knicks, baby. I done told you. All of you. We're here. Are you already twisted up? This kid's smoking a blunt right now. Oh my God. We're back in 99.
Zach spent 9 seconds fixing his hat before he got on camera today, so he didn't have to
I
worry
always fix
about
the
it.
hat. And I got my oil of peppermint right here.
When you hold it that close, all we see is the green of the 19th hole or whatever behind you.
My fault.
No, you're good. I'm just messing with you.
Let's get into it, bro. Fucking Knicks, bro. NBA playoffs are locked right now. Shit's amazing. Pat Bev's going crazy on the sidelines because he can't stand losing, which I respect. But where do you want to start, John? What do you want to get into here?
I want to start by giving you your moment in the sun. Wax poetically about your New York Knickerbockers.
Let's go, bro. Let's go. So, first things first. Going up 28-9. Everyone knew what was coming there. All right. Every Knick fan is watching the game and lying to themselves that this is going to be a blowout, and I love that. I appreciate the sentiment that all my boys are hitting me up in the chat because I'm being Debbie Downer because I'm watching the trend of the game and I can see what's about to happen. We're about to fucking blow this lead for no reason and make this game close in a sweat in only Knick fashion. But what I will say is it was the gutsiest Knick performance I've seen in a long time. 5 guys basically won the game. Let's just be clear. 5 guys. Usually for other NBA bystanders who don't know shit about basketball, you're talking about most teams go 7, 8 deep. Usually. Sometimes rotations are tight in the playoffs and they go to maybe 6, maybe 7. But in general, when you think back to all the old Laker teams, the old Spurs teams, all Detroit teams, all these teams are deep. They're all going 7, 8 deep, and that's what makes them championship rosters. The Heat teams, when they got over the hump, that's because they acquired more guys like Ray Allen and whatever. So the Knicks winning this game on the road in a hostile environment where the owner is buying up all the seats and all this shit, and the Knicks come in and Brunson on your head drops the 40-10 game. It's poetic at this point. And a lot of people were starting to pick Philly. I know people were off the Knicks at that point, but the proof's in the pudding with Brunson now. I don't know where everyone's looking. This guy is first team all NBA. I don't know what else there is to say. There's not another fucking guy that's ahead of him. So I'm gonna flip it back to you, John. That's my soapbox. Fucking Knicks in 6. Let's fucking get it, baby.
Knicks in 6, love that. 5 guys, burgers and fries rotation. Let's get it. I absolutely agree that Brunson showed out. He started the series in a little bit of a jump shooting slump. He was missing a lot of shots he usually hits, and to be able to revert to the player that you are and make those big time plays, have those big time performances when you need them in the playoffs is massive. And then to speak even further on it, to hear him in the post game, like jawing with Kenny Smith about how Villanova beat North Carolina in the championship,
that's right.
Confidently and smoothly after, a tough series. Yeah, they won in 6, but it was, I believe, 650 to 649 total score, in that series. It was
You mean like total points for both teams?
Yes, correct. So it was a 1-point differential over a 6-game series. Every game was close. The Knicks stole 1 and 2. The Knicks stole 1 in game 2, I should say, and the Sixers stole 1 in game 5. It was a fun back and forth series. And,
for sure.
Derek Brunson definitely stepped up. I got to shout out my boy Tyrese Maxey.
You mean Jalen Brunson? Jalen Brunson.
Excuse me, Jalen Brunson. And I got to shout out my boy Tyrese Maxey. Kentucky guards in the NBA taking over right now between him.
You said that last week on Saturday that Maxey was the guy to actually watch for in this series. Now, he didn't have the greatest game 6, but they're only there because of him. So kudos to you. You saw that early.
In game 5, he had 7 points in 30 seconds to tie it. He can't be amazing every game, but I just want to shout him out. in after Game 5, I was talking about how that was his breakout game, and people were like, "He's already very good." No, I'm like, no, this is his national breakout game where he goes on and becomes a 1A eventually. And
Eventually, maybe. I think he's definitely a guy that you can pair with like a almost like a hero's role was with Jimmy on those Miami teams. Like he can be that second guy and take a team to the finals and
well,
be on that type of, be on that
it
type of
makes
wave,
sense
I
to
think.
talk about hero because that's a Kentucky guard. You got Gilgis Alexander, Kentucky guard. You got De'Aaron Fox, Kentucky guard. You got
Factory.
Devin Booker, Kentucky guard. The list goes on and on. Even guys who aren't superstars, but even guys like Emmanuel Quickly. Like these guys, the guards from Kentucky are taking over the NBA, and he's right there. He's 23 years old. When he gets to, this is something that's a theme for me. I wanted to bring up as we talked about this was people expect so much from players so young.
Totally.
Tyrese Maxey is 23 years old. Gilgis Alexander, I want to say, is 22 years old. I could be mistaken, but in that realm. Ant
Yeah,
Edwards,
22, 23. Yeah.
Ant Edwards in that same realm. And people, if they fail, people talk about, oh, they failed, they failed. How old was LeBron when he won his first championship?
I think he was 27. Let me
Correct.
I think
Correct.
is that right?
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
How old was Michael Jordan when he won his first championship? Exactly, correct. So why do we expect Tyrese Maxey, the Gilgis Alexanders, the Ant Edwards to be
Mhm.
fully developed champions at the ages that they are now? They're not quite there, but I think Tyrese Maxey showed the potential that he can be a guy who, and you have spoke about this extensively in the chat. He was the best player for the Sixers in this series, and they gave a good Knicks team a run for their money, and he was the 1A, if you will. As much as Embiid did, he had a 50-point game. He was a monster. In the fourth quarters, he tended to disappear, because the injury had him hampered stamina wise, and that's pretty much. And the last thing I'll give you is, I've defended Nick Nurse a lot, but after Buddy Hield
Thank
goes for
you.
17 in the second quarter and doesn't play at all in the third, and Tobias Harris is out there with 0 points, I gotta say, man, it's almost like he made the right adjustment and then went against it and cost his
What are
team the
we
game.
doing? What are we doing? And you're home. It's not like you're on the road and it's a frying pan, it's just happening out of nowhere and then you're probably not going to get in the second half. First of all, you have to test that. As a coach who just saw what he just saw, a guy like Buddy Hield who can get hot, he can get hot on those Kings teams when they were dog shit. He was their go-to scorer on those teams. I mean, if you know basketball, when a guy's hot, you gotta go. And he had a hand. And it's not like you get this on fire thing in 2K until 2024 every single year because there's no such thing as getting hot. There is a such thing as feeling good, getting hot, heat check, all that shit. And you have to test that in the third quarter. When you come out, you cannot not play him. You cannot play campaign over that man. You cannot play Kelly Oubre over that man. You cannot play Tobias Harris, who has 0 fucking points and gets paid the most fucking money. We're done with this guy, right? I think we're all done here. Like
Oh
he
yeah,
has to be
no, for
traded
sure.
he has to be relegated to like the fucking like the G League almost. We're getting there right now. Like just cut his contract in half. Like oh my god, he's robbing the league. He's the new Chandler Parsons. That's where we're at right now. This guy's robbing the league. It's nuts.
His contract is over, and Sixers fans, despite losing the series, have taken
Bro,
so much solace in getting Tobias Harris max contract off of their books that it's almost like a win for them.
that
And
shit is a black eye.
I don't blame them. And honestly, he's to have 0 points in a win or go home game in the playoffs when you're on a max
Bro,
contract,
choke.
0 points, 0 assists in a
Choke.
max
And
contract game.
he's just doing laps, bro. He's just running suicides out there. It's nuts. How do
And
you
and
just go through the
again,
motions?
I've defended Nick Nurse. I've always been a Nick Nurse guy. I respect the hustle, the grind, G League champion to NBA champion. But he
Of
did,
course.
this series he performed poorly as a coach. Not that he's a poor coach, but this series, and I think he'll be the first to admit he could have made a lot better choices. And then now let's get into a second round matchup that I really want to talk about. And the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. I am locked
Let's
in. I
go.
will
We're
watch
here.
every second of every
Let's go.
game. I will fucking skip workouts. I'll do what I have to do to see this series because this is as excited I've been for an NBA playoff series than I have been in a long time.
Early
Mainly,
predictions. What do you think? Early predictions.
well, I just want to say why I'm so excited first is that's mainly because it's a unique matchup. A unique. It's not like watching the Warriors and the Cavs play for the fourth year in a row in the
Yep.
finals. This is a new, fresh matchup. I think that because of Gobert being there, he can maybe limit Jokic. Um, and I just want to say, going into it, I made the move. I had to pull the trigger. I saw plus 900 Timberwolves to win the NBA Finals. I couldn't help myself. I threw a unit on it, and we're
You know what's
riding.
funny? You know what's funny?
Timberwolves in 7.
Sick bet, sick bet, sick bet. I like it. You threw a whole unit on it. That's crazy. All right.
Fifty
I mean,
dollars to win 500.
I love it. I love it. I love
I'm
it.
not
You
rich,
know,
my standard $50 unit.
that's good. I just threw a 50 to Mike for the Knicks dub yesterday, so we're good. I love it. But in terms of beating the Thunder, that would be the matchup that would be even more interesting than this one. I feel like they're going to have a good time with Denver a little bit. I feel like Gobert has been playing well with Ant. I feel like Ant has everyone's skill at their highest right now, and that's his best quality, obviously, as in terms of the leadership side. He gets the most out of everyone around him because he's infectious as fuck. He is just like his gear. His gear is, everyone's gear is. That's just the way it goes. Even Mike Conley, all these guys are gonna get paid because everything. It's just his swag. Everything about Ant Edwards is the face of the NBA. We've seen the commercials during the Knicks game yesterday. He was on every fucking commercial. The guy is here. The guy is here, and I would say him against Shai would be the matchup everyone wants to see for new age basketball in the Western Conference Finals. That would be dope. Now, obviously, if Denver goes, I think they're going to outsmart an OKC team and probably beat them in 6. That would be my guess if Denver ends up beating Minnesota. But to keep it on Denver and Minnesota, I really think Minnesota has a big chance here. There is a door open here. I really believe that there is some. I mean, it's going to come down to the Jimmy and matchup. And if Ant can go toe to toe with Jimmy, or excuse me, am I not Jimmy? Excuse me. What am I trying to say? What's his name?
Jamal
Murray. Jamal. Sorry. Thank you. With Jamal, if Ant can go head to head with Jamal, man, they're gonna have a. I mean, I think Jokic is gonna get his lunch fed to him with Gobert and Towns. I think there's something there in Vanderbilt.
Jamal Murray and Jimmy is like as close as you could get to like a first name and a last name.
I don't know. I think it's because I said Jimmy before. It's because I said Jimmy before. So I got sidetracked.
No, I mean, I was really thinking about it. Like I said, I think that Minnesota has a really good shot at winning this series. And if they do win this series, I think they have a really good shot at winning the NBA title. And I know I was just saying how like Ant Edwards is too young to judge for winning it, but Towns is there, Gobert is there.
Conley.
Conley obviously is the vet. I'm trying to think of like the 6'9" defender. Oh my goodness.
Vanderbilt, is that who you're talking about?
No, not Vanderbilt. Who it doesn't really matter.
He's two names. Alexander, something Alexander, I think it is, maybe. Forget his full name.
No worries. Don't worry about it. It's not important. But getting back to it, it's just the matter of the Timberwolves, I feel like, match up the best with the Nuggets in terms of their size and ability to defend. And going into this series, seeing that they are a plus 900 to win the championship. If they win this series, they win the championship, in my opinion. And I believe that their odds of winning this series should be better than plus 900. So I just thought mathematically this is a good play. And also on top of that, I do believe that Ant Edwards is one of those special guys who, as a super young player, can help lead the team to a championship. Maybe not be the determining factor. Like you said, he brings the juice, though. They're going to need more than him. He can't will it by himself.
Towns will have to play huge. He'll have to keep pace with Jokic. If they get rolling on that pick and roll and they don't really figure it out on defense and Denver makes adjustments on the adjustments and they're just a step ahead the whole series, they're going to win in 6. They're just going to outsmart them. But if Minnesota can stay locked in terms of staying home on those pick and rolls, kind of make Jamal beat them, make guys like Porter Jr. beat them, and just stay home on Jokic and try to have Gobert do his thing and Towns do his thing and just throw bodies at Jokic as much as possible. Similar to what you do with Embiid. You just wear him down as much as you can. He's still a human being, so you just got to wear him down. Obviously, Jokic is just another guy, and I'm sure it's chalk to pick him in 6, but I like the gall. I like the gall hots. I like what you're
And
doing.
and like I said, I was just talking about how like we can't expect these from such young guys, but there are people who break that mold. Like how old do you think Kobe Bryant was when he won his first NBA championship?
Yeah, I would figure his 5th year probably, something like that. When he airballed the first two times when he was in the playoffs and they gave him the rock and then they
He
changed
was
up the team. Yeah.
21,
When he won his
very
first
young.
championship.
Yeah, Tony Parker was 20. I think he might be in that realm with playing with other great players, maybe not, like I said, willing his team to a championship, which I don't think anyone would argue that Shaq was the better playoff performer on those first three Lakers
Shaq
titles.
Shaq won Finals MVP, all 3 championships in their
Correct.
three-peat. So for people that don't know, Shaquille O'Neal, and then he went to Miami after they lost in 03 and won in 04 with Miami. So that's 4 titles in 5 years for Shaquille O'Neal. If anybody's checking, All right.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, just another thing going into is I feel like Minnesota plays such good defense, which
Yeah.
plays so well in the playoffs. And just to continue talking about good defense, uh, I got to give a shout out to a team that I had basically buried, which is the Orlando Magic. They play great, great defense. And
Yep.
they lean on guys who maybe, people thought that they drafted highly who were never going to pan out. Guys like Jonathan Isaac to go out there and play good defense, score when they're asked to, and just kind of play this old school basketball. And now they've tied the series at 3 apiece, and we're going to Game 7. Who do you think's taking Game 7 in this series?
Man, oh man. Game 7 on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, ABC. It's going to be in Cleveland. Man, I mean, Donovan Mitchell just went for 50 and they lost. Like, my God, that's got to hurt. You know what? I'm gonna pick the Magic. I just feel like I feel like Wagner is the man. I love his game.
Which Wagner?
Not the doofy Mo one. I think is not the one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
but
Franz is the more bucket.
Franz is a G. Franz is a G, and obviously Paolo is ridiculous. Paolo is, I think, showing a lot of people. I really want Paolo to win because he'll get his shine against the Celtics because he's nasty, and some of these fadeaways he hits, he's so athletic for the way his size is and skilled, and he's just sick. It's crazy he came from Duke as well. I mean, he doesn't even look like a guy that came from Duke the way he plays, to be honest. But that would be a sick matchup, him and Tatum, actually.
He's new age Duke.
He's new age Duke. Yeah, for sure.
Done Duke.
Right. Jabari Parker, not that kind of Duke. Not a
Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving type Duke. Exactly.
Exactly.
But I want to move to another matchup. I want to finish up the Clippers and the Mavericks series. They're playing right now, and the Mavs are up 9. Dallas leads that series. So let's go on and say that the Mavericks win that series, okay? And win that game. If there's crazy changes, then we'll talk about it next time we're on the air. We'll preview the Thunder Clippers. But just for sake of argument, if the Mavericks close it out, they're up by 10 and late in the game. Do you think the Thunder, like the Mavericks, there's any chance that the Mavericks can win that series? Or do you have the Clippers and the Mavericks both losing to the Thunder anyway?
I give the Clippers or the Mavericks 0 chance of beating the Thunder. The Thunder are for real. I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is for real. I think that Chet Holmgren is for real. I think Giddey has hit some big shots. I'm not going to be like he's a good guy, way worse guy than player.
Bro, he's winking at the fans, dude. I'd be seeing it, dude.
Yeah,
he'd be he'll see some guy's daughter and he'll just wink at her. It's crazy. I've been seeing it. Like he'll make a crazy pass and then just like a little.
He's a wild boy. He's a wild boy. But
that's a wild boy. They're a cool team. They're a cool team.
And I covered Arizona State when I was living in Arizona, I should say. And I remember Lou Dort, and I remember the aggression he played with, and to have a defensive stopper like that in the playoffs is a huge asset. And he's not a bum offensively either. He can get some.
It's the 3. I think it's actually a decent clip. It's gotten better over the years. I almost think that it's pretty high this year. If I was a guessing man, I would think it's over 35% this year.
Definitely, easily.
So then he's hitting an appropriate clip. Yeah, I would say it's closer to 40, so which is a great clip. I mean, that's insane. The percentages, the way things are judged nowadays is insane. No one understands basketball. If you shoot over 37.5% from 3, that's amazing. That's so good.
It's
that's
better than 50% from 2.
Yeah. Exactly. So
mathematically. It's more
mathematically, but
points
yeah,
per
but I'm just
shot.
exactly like people think that like if they're not shooting in the 40s and from three, then you're not shooting well. It's like there's only a few guys that have ever done the 50-40-90 club, which is the free throw, the 3-point, and the what's it called? The field goal percentage. So, people don't understand what they're even looking at anymore with these percentages, the way the possessions are now, and these guys are just chucking it and going 7 of 16 on that percentage, and it's just nuts. Or 7 of 15.
So
But
let's lock in on our last final predictions to see who gets to the conference finals. Obviously, I already said I'm going Timberwolves over the Nuggets. I'm going there. I'm booking it. I'm locking it
okay.
in.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Nuggets in that series. Just to quickly go back on that, I'm gonna go with the Nuggets there.
And the one thing I'll say is that I know betting against the Nuggets is stupid, but at plus 900, when I think they probably should be plus 200, plus 300, I'll take it.
I'm just trying to. I'm the ultimate jinx, don't you see? So I mean, you should be happy. I'm not
Yeah,
coinciding. Yeah,
fair enough. And then we got the Thunder and the Mavericks, and the Clippers, the Clavericks, if you will. Who you
yeah,
got?
yeah. I agree with you. I think. I mean, I was big on the Clippers. If the Clippers, I mean, it's just
You might as well
unfortunate, man.
just
I thought Kawhi was going to be there so bad. I'm done with my pick on the Clippers. Like I had them going to the championship.
backing away. Just back away.
I'm backing
slowly.
away now. I'm backing away slowly now. Yeah, the fucking Homer Simpson thing. I'm just backing away.
Don't abandon ship entirely, but like slowly.
I was trying to be on this team with Kawhi, yo. What the fuck? He doesn't play, and this team is just so frustrating. Even when he plays, I think they're fucking worse when he plays. It's so the Thunder going. It's gonna be Thunder and the Nuggets for me on that side, and then the other side it'll be Celtics Knicks, and it's chalk, and that's just the way it goes. But I think I give the Pacers obviously a big shot to beat the Knicks. They got a cool roster. I'm not unaware. I think Halliburton's cool. Siakam, it's a cool team. Miles Turner, we'll see what he's made of and if he can handle our centers. But we'll see what's up there. I just think the Celtics are going to handle which either team between the Cavs and the Magic. Like, good story for the Magic. They might push them to 6 or 7. Celtics could play in the mud with them a little bit, but I still think the Celtics are going to manhandle them and just be better. And then at the championship, and then the Celtics Knicks, I think that's my final 4.
Yeah, I'm going to go Celtics in 5, and then I'll go Knicks in 7.
Let's go.
Celtics in 5, Knicks in 7, T-Wolves in 7, Thunder in 5. Against the Mavericks.
Let's go.
Let's get it.
All right. Let's go. And then and then in terms of I just want to ask you about one other thing in terms of basketball here, in terms of the playoffs. Did you think that there was any chance that someone else deserved MVP? Because we obviously saw the awards come out. Just quickly on the MVP. Do you think anybody else deserved league MVP in the NBA?
No.
Nobody.
Not Jalen Brunson.
All right, fine. I was thinking Jalen Brunson, but no one wants to listen to me and hear me.
Let's hear your pick.
No, it's fine. That's fine. Let's get into some Hots Corner. It's fine. Let's just keep it moving here. Let's get into some early Hots Corner here. What do you think? And then we can keep it moving here a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get into the Hots Corner. I'm gonna get a drink. You guys get ready.
Just setting everything up here.
You're not ready. High quality video here with Zach's chair just like spinning out.
My fault.
No, you're good. I'm just fucking with you, dude. All right.
Yeah, it's a fake background, people. Real picture, fake background. Thank you.
You ready?
Right. All right, let's go.
Would you rather be drafted by the Sacramento Kings or the Jacksonville Jaguars?
The Kings.
NASCAR or Formula One?
Formula One.
What is your go-to dessert at a restaurant?
Tiramisu.
What new rule or rule change would you implement in any sport?
Pass.
What is the toughest animal you could beat in a fight?
Probably like a German Shepherd.
If you spent 100 hours in solitary confinement but can bring one TV series, what would it be?
Sopranos.
Which would require the fewest attempts to complete? Scoring 20 plus in NBA three-point contest, scoring a penalty kick versus a Premier League goalie, or scoring a penalty shot versus an NHL goalie?
One more time, please.
Which would require the fewest amount of attempts to complete? Scoring 20 plus points in an NBA three-point contest, scoring a penalty kick versus a British Premier League professional goalie, or scoring a penalty shot versus an NHL goalie?
Probably say the NHL goalie. Penalty shot.
Burger King or McDonald's?
McDonald's.
Your Mount Rushmore top 4 of favorite athletes who played at USC.
Okay. Reggie Bush. Man, that's a tough one. Steve Smith, the receiver. Not the one that went to Carolina, by the way, for people. The one on the Giants. OJ Mayo. And USC. We'll go Leinart.
Better actor, Michael Fassbender or James McAvoy?
Man. All right, since it's fresh in my head, I'm going to go McAvoy. Big shout right there. Even I do love Fassbender. Fuck, that's a tough one, man.
What new rule or rule change would you implement in any sport?
I guess my new rule would be if you're inside 65 yards in football, you have to kick a field goal. You can't punt.
All right, that was a fun one. Oh no, I have one more for the verbal flop. Sorry. Would you rather get kicked by a horse or ran over by Jerome Bettis?
Kick of the horse, I'm imagining. It's just so funny. I'm just imagining like a quick kick. It's so funny. Probably the kick of the horse, I guess.
Wow,
yeah.
That's crazy. All right, we'll get into the answers real quick. This was a fun one. Definitely some fun answers here. Drafted by the Kings of Sacramento, because not the Los Angeles Hockey Kings, the Sacramento Kings, or Jacksonville Jaguars. You said Sacramento Kings. I think I'd agree here. Kind of gets back to what we were talking to last week, where you get your ass kicked if you're not a backup quarterback in the NFL, but if you're like a safety or a guard or something where you're in practice banging your head every day, that would suck so much worse than NBA.
That was definitely one thing. I went to the Sacramento Knicks game in Sacramento, so I was thinking about that, and I was also thinking about like being in California and where that is versus like proximity to Jacksonville, like if I was living there too as my home team, like all that shit factored in. So and then I was just like basketball, so I was like Kings. Let me get that.
I only have one counterpoint.
What you got?
State
Kings
taxes.
suck.
State taxes. That's my only counterpoint.
True. No state taxes in Jacksonville. You're chilling.
Yeah,
that's why
It's a good chunk of money, but
it's a good chunk of money. That's not nothing.
Yeah, NASCAR, especially if you're there for like multiple years. But NASCAR or Formula One, You went
Yeah,
Formula
I don't
One.
know much about either, but I obviously know about Lewis Hamilton a little bit. I watched the F1 the series on that a little bit on
Drive to
Netflix, excuse
Survive.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Drive
on
to
on
Survive.
Netflix. Yeah, that was good. Some of these guys like Ferrari, like they seem to dominate. Like it's cool. I think the F1 stuff is cool. Also, recently saw Ford versus Ferrari on my flight back from New York, or my flight to New York, excuse me, and that got into like kind of how F1 was introduced, the way Ferrari was in that movie, and that just, that was sick. So, I mean, both are cool. Kyle Busch is cool. Tony Stewart, all those guys, Jeff Gordon. I feel like those guys are big stars when we were growing up, and NASCAR had some stars growing up, but I'm good.
F1 is cooler because it's not just
F1's
like
cooler. It's like in
circles.
the city, like Monaco and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I've always thought was so much doper than like
It's not just like a circle.
racing in fucking Tennessee in a circle. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a track. Yeah, I agree. F1 is cooler. You were just like, yeah, Lewis Hamilton. I saw a movie on a plane.
I was just like, and he was just going through cities in Monaco. I was just like, that's
All
just
right.
crazy that those guys do.
Your go-to restaurant dessert is tiramisu. You're a tiramisu guy. That's your big move.
I knew you were gonna chop this up.
No,
All right.
I tried it. I was like,
I didn't know what to think. I just thought of an Italian restaurant. I was like, wow, tiramisu is so good. So I just said it. But
Nah,
it's supposed to be
tiramisu
quick
is-
fire. You always yell at me for not doing the quick fire. So I gotta keep to the hot corner. So it's
I
the
don't
first
think
thing
I
I thought of.
always yell at you, but tiramisu.
No, I didn't say that. But I'm saying that I gotta keep to the I gotta keep to the time. I can't explain it.
I'm not saying tiramisu is bad, but I just think like brownie sundae,
Brownie
something
sundae,
like
but not every
cheesecake.
place is gonna have brownie sundae. I suppose not every place is gonna have tiramisu. Yeah.
I was like, more places have a brownie sundae than a tiramisu.
I didn't know where to go. Do I go with a generic thing that's in every place for dessert, like gelato, or do you go with like a specific type of? All right, this is what I'm picking because this is what I would get in that restaurant.
If you got
Kinda
like
way.
tiramisu, would you want like a caramel chocolate drizzle on it, or do you just want it like tiramisu?
Sure, if they're offering that, I'll take the works. If they're offering the works, I'll take the works. Generally, I don't usually love whipped cream on type of ice cream in general because it just melts in and becomes disgusting if you don't eat it in a good amount of time. But generally I'm open to the works though, for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm confirmed not a whipped cream guy either. It just seems like
It's just
like
annoying.
it's like the avocado of desserts. It's just like texture.
I like that.
It's
I like
there's
that.
no substance to it. It just tastes like nothing.
Oh,
But
It's just
air.
overhyped. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Fucking, that was a good. I'm gonna save that quote. What new rule change or what new rule would you implement in any sport? You said mandatory field goals.
Yeah, if you get within 65 yards of that field goal, 65 yards are in, you have to kick it.
So you're at the 48-yard line. You're up 6 in the final 2 minutes of a game.
If it's fourth down, you have to kick the field goal, or go for the fourth down.
Yeah. Or go for the fourth down. That's actually, I kind of like that. So just no punting inside.
There's no such thing as
48.
punting or like just sealing out the ball, like kneeling out the ball.
No, but listen,
the game.
No punting inside the 48-yard line. That's basically what you're saying. You either have to
Correct.
go for it or kick a field goal inside the
That's correct.
48-yard line.
Yeah. You want to
Kinda
eliminate
cool.
gunners in punting? Force people to kick field goals and force people to go for it. It actually would eliminate some of the dangerous plays which is punting and the receiving of punts and guys getting obliterated. So maybe onto something there.
No, I actually kind of like it off the cuff. It's something I've never heard before. So that's like automatically I love an original take. So I really broke it down in my head and I was like, all right, so inside the 48-yard line, you either have to kick a field goal or you have to go for it. What's like the worst case scenario? The other team has the ball at the 48, has to go.
I think you
52
described
yards.
one. You gestured at one, which is essentially you're up and you're trying to kneel out the ball and you only have 4 downs to play with. So on third down, you do have to go for a first down because if you don't get it, you're going to kick this fucking field goal right now because you're up by 7.
But what we just said is like the negative scenario for the team in the lead also becomes like a fun scenario for the fans where like, all right, now
Correct.
let's think about game theory wise. I should just throw a deep ball. If they intercept it, I could go for the pass interference. I could go for the touchdown, or I could go for it. If they intercept it, it's like a punt. So
Right.
you, like,
I also
play
think
the
that
numbers.
scoring is is preferred. That's the whole goal of all the rules. It's all supposed to be slanted towards the quarterback. If we're trying to score points, then let's make people score points.
And honestly, outside of that like scenario, it's late in the game, you have a lead. It is a fun rule. Like it does create a new dynamic. It creates a new coaching situation. Like I'm glad you passed originally and came back to it, because I think you came back to
I was actually sitting on it. Yeah,
a very cool idea, and you could even implement that in a situational wise. Like before the final 2 minutes, you have to do that. Or
bang!
Like that,
Ooh, I like that even more. Like under 5 minutes, under 5 minutes in the second and the fourth, towards halftime and towards the end of the game, you have to either kick it or go for it if it's under 48 yards, or maybe it would be, or maybe opposite. Under 5 minutes is.
I actually said the opposite before the 2 minutes.
Maybe that's when you would cut it off and you can decide whatever you want to do.
Yeah, but also but either way could be cool. Like, there's no way to boringly end the game.
I'm fucking with it. Yeah, it's off the cuff. I wasn't really giving it that much stuff, but damn, it's actually interesting.
That's like this very interesting and fun original idea. So you did good. What is the toughest animal you could beat in a fight? Yo, a trained German Shepherd would maul you, dude. I'm sorry. There's no way in hell.
No, I got him. 1-2.
No.
1-2.
1-2, your fist is in his mouth and he's tearing your skin off your bone or your fingers. You're getting destroyed by a German Shepherd. I was thinking like a duck. Like
duck?
A duck.
Bro, if I answered a duck there, I would get dragged. You would probably clip that and put it in the chat and just be like, Zach, I asked Zach what animal he thinks he could beat up, and he said a duck.
If you, I have a Belgian Malinois. If you tried to like hurt me when I was sleeping, you would get fucked up, dude. Maya would destroy you in a fight. You
got Maya in a fight? I don't know, bro.
Dude, Maya is destroying you. She has claws and teeth.
Man. So do I.
What?
Fuck. So do I. I got teeth. I don't have claws, but I got the teeth part.
Let me see your Caleb Williams.
Caleb's zesty, yo.
I mean, I'm not saying there's a 0.0% chance, but there's you can't claim that as like the one you could definitely beat in a fight. Like maybe
all right,
like
that's fine. I definitely can be a bunny. Let's go.
A Jack Russell Terrier, maybe.
A Jack Russell Terrier. That's like what my parents have. This annoying little shit of like a 10-pound dog. Just punt it. Yeah, that's crazy.
Nah, German Shepherd. Think about like a police German Shepherd would destroy.
Just kick him right in his balls, real good. He'd go straight down in the heap.
He's probably fixed.
That area is still hurting.
You're done. If you have to spend 100 hours in solitary, what TV series are you bringing? You had Sopranos. I like The Sopranos.
Chalk.
I was thinking like how many hours of a show. Like I was like thinking about it. I'm like,
maybe the seasons, like Family Guy type of thing. You're talking about you're talking about having the show with the most seasons.
Imagine you had like Days of Our Lives, like a 50-year soap opera, just like watching
General Hospital. Yeah, you could do it that way. I mean, I didn't think like that. I kind of just thought of the best series that had some seasons to it. Yeah. Maybe Sopranos is too short. Maybe Entourage is a better move. I think there's a couple extra seasons in Entourage, and it's a little easier.
Is shorter per episode, so
that's the problem. It's like 30 to 50. Yeah.
I originally had the question as Curb or Seinfeld. Pick one, but I was like, why would I limit it? Like, let him take anything.
The Office.
Curb or Seinfeld? What would you take?
Curb.
Me too, man. I my girl likes Seinfeld a ton, and I do like Seinfeld. It's a great program. Ran a long time. There's a lot of good stuff.
I think Seinfeld for a lot of people nowadays is like this with the jokes. The way Larry explains jokes on Curb and the way the situations are built on Curb and how things lead into things, and it all starts in the beginning of the episode and then it ties in at the end, and how he builds it's built for a much simpler audience, I would say, but at the same time, it's genius comedically, obviously. So that's what makes it gold. But Seinfeld to me is a little bit more, it's harder to follow what's happening in Seinfeld for a modern viewer because of the way the show runs. It's very just like kind of in and out, background noisy, kind of the way that conversations flow in the diners and the scenes. It's harder to I feel like grab the storyline and what's happening versus like what Curb is, because that show is truly about nothing versus Curb having some kind of angle each episode. that's more pronounced. I think the angles are way more pronounced on Curb than they are on Seinfeld. Seinfeld, you kind of have to peel through the onions to kind of get to the jokes and understand really what's going on, what's the funny part here, versus like unless it's Kramer and like leaving and like putting his socks in the fucking pizza oven to dry them off, whatever we talk, you know.
It's funny you mention that because I was like, the thing about Seinfeld, which is so funny to me, is just like the little funny things where it's
yeah, of course,
just like Kramer, like just like eating all of Jerry's food and then being like, why do you have the spicy brown mustard? Like the yellow mustard is better, and Seinfeld's like, oh yeah, I'll make sure I get more of your favorites. Like you're just eating my food in my house.
Yeah,
and it's like, you know, and Curb Your Enthusiasm, like, which I agree is the funnier show, is like one of the best television episodes of all time is where Larry and Rosie O'Donnell are competing for the same girl. And it's like they're equating it to like making the Hall of Fame as like, using steroids to his like sexual performance using Viagra.
Correct.
And she's like, oh, your whole life you've been missed the singles hitter. Now you missed the power hitter, Larry.
You missed the power hitter, Larry.
Juicing Larry. Like, playing softball like on their team is so funny.
Because they're playing the celebrity softball game in New York City. That's when they're in New York. That's amazing, bro.
And this is just half of the episode, and the other half of the episode is, which they tie in together beautifully, is the fact that he gets the Chinese food and it's all not secure. And he's like, you gotta secure the bag, man. It was all spilled everywhere. I'm not trying to get a thing. I don't need no refund. I just need you to secure the bag, man. You gotta secure the bag. He's like, I'm sorry. And he gave him like a tiny little bow.
He's like, oh, that's not a bow.
And then Larry sees another guy in the park spill somebody's ice cream, and he gave him like a deep bow. And he's like,
oh, now that's a bow.
He's like, excuse me, sir. I saw you bow very deep. He's like, yeah, because I'm very sorry. He's like, what if someone just gave you this? He's like, oh, that's a shit bow.
It's a shit bow.
It had the shit bow and the juicing and him, and they literally went to visit the Hall of Fame, and the Viagra falls out of his pocket, and she's like, you're never getting in, because she had the tickets. Like, that was just genius, like... That's like high IQ humor, very funny, like way better.
The New York episodes are great. All the episodes I feel like when they go to New York are gold. It's just unbelievable.
O'Donnell, like just classic, but
ridiculous.
If I kept it the same, we would have agreed that Curb and Sopranos is just amazing. Like I've watched Sopranos.
In terms of like the best show itself, like it's ridiculous. The looks, also, the scenes, the cuts, the way it's made, especially the early seasons, it's unprecedented shit.
I'll wax poetic one more time after that episode description and one more episode description. It's after Tony and Carmela are separated, and it's the younger brother and the older sister in an Italian family with the mom cooking dinner, forcing them to sit down to dinner even though dad isn't there anymore. And that like applied to my life like directly. Like I had an older Italian sister who looked like Meadow Soprano, Jamie Lynn Siegler, like that. Was
she kind of does. That's crazy. Yeah, she kind of does, Alyssa.
And me, I don't look like AJ. That's Casey, but whatever.
True. But, that's crazy. I don't think I've ever heard someone say that before, but that's a good one.
But just like my mom being like, John, shut up. Alyssa's trying to talk about her day, you know, like that, like them trying to have a normal family dinner, even though like there's a separation happening, you know. It was so like relatable, like we're gonna have dinner no matter what, we're gonna sit down at the table even though everyone's miserable. Like awesome TV. But moving on to the next one, which would require the fewest attempts. I was shocked that you didn't go with the 20 points in a 3-point contest. I figured you'd go there like you're a shooter, and I'd be able to clown you and be like, that's a hard number to hit.
That's so hard. Like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I could do it, obviously, and I'm definitely much more of a basketball player than all the other.
You could do it.
Definitely. There's no question in my mind that I could do it, but I feel like a slap shot, like I could just sneak one by a goalie. Like, even if I'm slow and stupid, like I could just kind of just sneak one by, and like it's just the chances in my head, like how many, and that's an also easier path, I feel like, just to kind of if I was doing it repetitively to kind of complete the mission, because I feel like I'm not going to do it on the first try for any of these. First of all, the other one's out. Whatever the fucking football one, or was soccer one, Premier League.
I actually disagree. Probability.
Bro, I can't kick shit. I can't kick shit.
I'll fucking just boot the fuck out of it, and if it's
no way, net, I'm never. There's no way. It's gonna roll up like you're playing with your little cousin. Like I'm not kicking the ball nice. I've never been a good kickball player. I was okay, but like that's not my steez. Feet need to be on the ground generally.
Zach's got no squat game, no hamstring, glute.
Nah, that's not my steez. I'm not a squatter. No.
I thought because it's the biggest target with the, you know what I mean? That's why I was like, I think soccer, because I would just kick the shit out of it. And if it
those guys are stopping you in Premier League. Joe, whatever his name is, Joe Hart, who used to be on the fucking Man City, my man's stopping that.
If you hit the corners, you're scoring. It doesn't matter how good they are. It's, you know.
I'm not hitting a corner. I'm barely getting it to the goal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just kick the fuck out of it. Within a couple, you get lucky and hit one.
With basketball, you just throw it at the hoop. Chances are you're gonna hit it 20 at one point or another. That's fine. It would be. It's between that and hockey. Like, it's no way, bro. Kicking on a Premier League field. I'm not dumb enough to think that.
They have 1 minute, so that means you're hitting a shot like every 3 seconds.
Yeah.
In a 3-point contest.
That's hard. That's hard.
hard.
I need to load up every time. I don't know. I'm definitely a shooter and I could do it, but and that's like my best trait, I would say, when it comes to playing basketball, like understanding basketball and shooting the ball. So everything else is whatever. But
you got to do it fast.
Yeah, it would just be like
if you train for each of them, maybe basketball would be your best bet. But
yeah.
Right now, off the couch.
Decent on the ice though. We went ice skating in the winter last year, and I was okay. You know, I'm not hanging on the wall or anything like that. I'm okay on the ice. Like I feel like I could get a slap shot off.
If a hockey goalie just came out of
and just speared me, like that's his best chance to stop it every time. If he just attacks me, I just get scared and probably fall.
You'd have to like try to flop it over his head and like land it in. Like that'd be.
It's not happening. I would just get scared and I probably would literally fall like from my actual skates. Like I would get scared.
I'd go after that communist sport soccer and just fucking kick the shit out of the ball and try to knock it in. All right, Burger King and McDonald's. Yeah, Burger King. I was a Burger King guy. I'll be honest. Growing up, we got Burger King all the time, like chicken nuggets from Burger King in New City. You know,
my dad's like that. My dad's a Burger King in New City guy across from Wally's and all that stuff. The new Wally's location.
Old school. And now Burger King has fallen off a damn cliff, corporate wise, top to bottom. Each of them are not consistent.
They used to have the chicken strips, which were gasoline. They used to have the spicy chicken strips, were ridiculous.
The burgers were like actually charred and taste good. Like they have their own flavor. You like now they're just like and McDonald's, if there's one thing that they are, it's consistent. Maybe their prices raised.
I was just about to say that.
The quality of their fries have been as like if I order after we hang up, I'm probably gonna order DoorDash McDonald's fries now. That
just because you're talking about it right now, it's crazy. Yeah.
And I'll pay like $14 for like a large fry and
or like a spicy chicken sandwich has been good for 30 years. So like fucking like they have a breakfast menu. Like there's just like it's a whole other
breakfast. Don't even get
McDonald's. It's breakfast. Like I don't even think that's I think Wendy's is a little closer for me because Wendy's and Nanuet was definitely a spot for sure.
Well,
but
that's
I don't know. It's like I still lean McDonald's in general because of the fries. Like you said, the fries are just like A1 beyond everyone else's fries, and all the other food is kind of interchangeable. You know, this chicken strips over here, maybe spicy chicken nuggets over here with the Wendy's. You know, things are interchangeable. You know exactly the deal. But
we'll go back.
The alpha is the fries. Yeah,
we'll go back to the consistency thing, even with Wendy's, and it's in a different thing versus Burger King, where it's like Burger King's consistency lacks in, item to item, store to store. Where as Wendy's, it's more of just a store-to-store thing. Like the Nanuet Wendy's we grew up with is an elite Wendy's. Of
That's
all
true.
the Wendy's I've ever been to, it's probably the best.
It's actually
Wendy's.
Very true. That's the craziest thing ever. That's the craziest take ever. It's actually true. I've been to a ton of other Wendy's, and that's definitely the best Wendy's.
None of them hold a candle. And
that's so crazy.
It's taste. Even the busiest Wendy's I've ever been to is that if you go to that Wendy's at lunchtime, there's cars.
You're proving the point though right now. Guess what? Right now, ready? You ready? What's your favorite McDonald's you've ever been to?
Oh man, my favorite McDonald's I've ever been to.
It's going to be hard, right? Because in general, they're all going to be similarly, consistently. This is what I just fucking fooled you. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, that's exactly the point.
You got me for sure.
That's the point. I knew I got you there. I got you to buy in right there. I'm telling you, bro. That is why McDonald's is just they're a B+ every time. All the other ones have B and an A and C and D quality shit. They're just B+ every time.
Well, Burger King is fucking inconsistent store to store and item
they're
to
C+
item.
Every time.
They're inconsistent store to store and item to item. Wendy's is consistent item to item, but store to store you could find like the Nanuet Wendy's, which would actually be above McDonald's. The
Yes,
manual
yes.
Wendy's is above McDonald's.
Correct.
But most Wendy's are under most McDonald's because McDonald's is the most
100%.
consistent. And
Great
they
take.
just fucking found.
That's a great take.
All right, moving on. Your Mount Rushmore of favorite athletes who played at USC. First and foremost, I want to shout out the Steve Smith poll, but not the Steve Smith Panthers.
I'm a Giant fan
are
for
a
life,
Giants
bro.
fan.
Super Bowl champion. Let's go.
Yeah,
Come on
you're
now.
a Giants fan. That was a Super Bowl. Reggie Bush, no brainer. If you don't say Reggie Bush, you could get out. Don't fucking follow us. Don't
watch one highlight tape. He'll be your favorite running back you've ever watched, and you've never seen him live. How about that for a take?
Yeah.
He'll literally be your favorite running back that you've never seen live because he's not playing anymore. But I'm telling you, watch this highlight tape. It's stupid.
OJ Simpson banned from the list.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Damn.
You went Matt Leinart. You know, there's also the Carson Palmers, the Mark Sanchez's, the Sam
thought about
Darnolds.
him, the Vinny Testaverdes. You know, I thought about a couple guys. You know, I thought about a couple guys.
Vinny Testaverde went to Miami, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he went to USC. I thought he was a USC guy. Let me see, Vinny Testaverde College. Let's see here. Yeah, he played at Miami. So this is an example.
Victory sip right there.
And he also won the Heisman. I should have known that. Yeah, that's true.
I already knew that was my victory.
Row 26ers, hot heads and dreamers already know what was happening right there. So they're like, here goes Zach. He's gonna go Google something that John already knows, and he's just gonna own him right now. And it's gonna be sick. That was my victory
sip because I already knew the answer to that question. But
yeah,
no,
foolish.
Either way, Carson Palmer is another good one. Mark Sanchez, Sam Darnold. There's been some John David.
Darnold, damn it! That's who I was thinking of. The other Jets QB, mother, damn it.
John
David. Damn it! I knew there was another one besides Sanchez. Is what I'm saying, and I mean, damn.
I'm gonna trivia you right now.
What you got?
Another Miami quarterback was recently fired as the Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator. Name
him. Ken Dorsey.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah.
I shouldn't have said recently fired. I should have said just.
I mean, it wouldn't have mattered. I knew the OC because I remember some of the shows I watch, they always clamor about the Bills because the Bills are always in the news or whatever about the discourse between Allen and Diggs or whatever, and like. I remember hearing about Dorsey being on the hot seat because of that offense.
The offensive coordinator was the offensive coordinator for this college football team. The new offensive coordinator who replaced Ken Dorsey.
Oh, isn't the offensive? You're saying he was the? I'm sorry. What was that? Repeat it again. So the Buffalo Bills' current offensive coordinator.
The offensive coordinator who replaced Ken Dorsey for the Buffalo Bills was the offensive coordinator for this college football team, most recently in his college football coaching resume.
Alabama?
No, LSU, Joe Brady.
Joe Brady, yeah, slick cut, yeah. The guy's always got the fade.
He went to the Panthers, and then he went.
Right.
That's what
he was on
most
Reich's
recently
staff.
In his college football resume.
He was on Reich's staff. That's right. Yeah. You got it. All right, we're
moving on. I'm trying to think if there's anyone USC else I should shout out. Bronny James. No, I'm just kidding. Best actor or better actor, Michael Fassbender or James McAvoy. There was only one right answer for this, as good as they both are, and you nailed
Fassbender?
it.
Good. Okay, good. Yeah, I was about to say.
James McAvoy is my favorite actor. He is tremendous.
He's great.
Have you ever seen the movie Trance?
No.
Oh, amazing movie. Rosario Dawson. There's an art heist, and James McAvoy is an art curator for a museum.
Okay.
And he gets knocked unconscious during the art heist, and the art that got heisted ends up being missing. And they're trying to find out where he took it, because he hid it before they actually stole the real art. And they kidnap him, torture him, and they're trying to find out, but he doesn't remember because he got knocked out. And now they bring in a psychiatrist who does hypnotism to try and make him remember.
Yeah.
Incredible movie. Rosario Dawson is the hypnotist. And James McAvoy is the art curator.
That's crazy.
It was one of the best movies I ever saw. One of the most brilliantly acted movies I ever saw. James McAvoy also as Professor X in the old
X-Men, right?
X-Men.
Yep.
And Fassbender is
Of course. What's his name? Magneto.
Magneto. Yeah. So that's why I
Of
put them
course.
together. And they're
Fassbender's
both
amazing,
great.
bro. Yeah, he's great. That scene in X-Men where he's lifting whatever that is out of the water, and he's lifting
Yeah.
that it's just that ship, I think it was, or the submarine.
Yeah,
The submarine. I was looking for the word, but when he lifts that submarine, that whole scene is just, I mean, Fassbender just crushing.
Michael Fassbender, low key in The Counselor, like another low key fun movie.
Damn, I haven't seen that in a minute. Yeah.
Michael Fassbender is a beast. What's another one I was thinking? Oh, but James McAvoy. Oh man, and Split, of course. James McAvoy playing all those different personalities within the same character.
Legend.
And Split. Another reason why I love that is Unbreakable is one of my all-time favorite movies with Samuel Jackson and Bruce Willis back in the day. And
back in the day,
directed. That twist was one of the most fooled I've ever been by a twist. I was a younger man at that point, a teenager, maybe.
But that shit shook your tree. That shit got you.
That was like, I never saw that coming, that Samuel Jackson was the villain.
I know.
Obviously, his villain arc continues with the Split, and
someone just went like, "Fuck, man, I was gonna watch that movie, dude." Someone just did that while they were watching this. Now they're like, "Oh, you just mentioned Unbreakable." They're like writing down a note that they got to go watch the movie with their girl, and he was like, "Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson's the bad guy." Oh man, I don't even get to watch.
Still be like confused halfway through and be like, "Nah, that guy was wrong," and still be surprised at some point.
Facts. There you go.
That's one of my favorite twists. And speaking of movies, we both saw Civil War recently, A24.
Yeah, man.
I wanted to get into one take I had real quick that I liked the movie a lot. One of the things that blew it for me, not blew it, but like a thing I didn't like was she was like the new photographer who was learning from Kirsten Dunst. I'm just going super spoiler right now. If you want.
Heavy spoiler.
Heavy spoiler. When she was like, "Oh, if I get shot, would you take pictures?" And Kirsten Dunst was like, "What do you think?" I already knew that Kirsten Dunst was going to get shot and the other girl was going to take pictures.
So it was just...
As soon as that line was delivered, I wrote it down in my phone so I could show it to my girlfriend later. Like, I screenshotted it. I was like, I screenshotted this at this time because I knew this
it's just an alley-oop. And also, and that was kind of my problem with the movie a little bit. I don't want to get too far into it because I want to give people an opportunity to see it and make their own point of views, but just a lot of loose ends in my opinion. Cool movie, A24 slaughter every time, but it's like filmed, the cuts, the music, it's cool. Some of the music was kind of whatever for me in terms of those cool scenes, those fighting scenes, and they like use this like happy-go-lucky music. It's just like a little whatever to me, but a little just like, I don't know. But anyway, I like the movie overall. I just thought that. And I like that they kind of just made it about war journalism and like Hot said, I think Hot and I were talking off air, and he mentioned that they kept the politics out of the movie as much as they could in terms of filming this type of a movie. So they like let it in where it needed to be in, but they kind of didn't really talk about it much. It was more about a war journalism perspective, which is cool, but from just a stateside perspective. So it's interesting. But there were some weird scenes for sure, like that little town with our boy in the sunglasses. And I'm not going to get anything further than that. And but it's definitely a movie that's worth seeing once.
They didn't take a side. I was worried it'd be a leftist or rightist agenda kind of movie.
They were just shooting. They were just taking pictures of everything and not talking about that really.
And one of my favorite parts was they went in, like the journalists were all psyched to hear about gunfire. They wanted to go in and see and be part of the action, the war.
Yeah, in that next town over, when at night they were talking about it. That's right. Yeah.
And they went in, and then afterwards, when people were killed and done and everything, they took over the town or whatever. There was a scene where one of the guys who was a soldier was with the guy who was a journalist, and they were just dying laughing. An hour after people were just getting shot and killed. And they're just like the disassociation of it was like powerful. And speaking of A24, I watched the other movie recently in the theaters where basically the whole movie was disassociation, where it was the Nazi family that lived outside of Auschwitz. I'm trying to remember the name of it now. I'm sorry, I'm blanking. But I'm like, this movie is just like horrifying.
Yeah, I didn't see that movie.
The movie is disassociation. Yeah. And I'm like,
I saw the Ungentlemanly movie instead of that, whatever that other one's called.
There was no plot. It was just the whole movie was just dialogue on top of horrible screaming. I was like, I get it, what they're trying to go for. Like, they're trying to be like brave and, make it. But I'm like, this is like just uncomfortable. But moving
Yeah.
on, the last question is: would you rather get kicked by a horse or ran over by Jerome Bettis? And you said kicked by a horse, which is just crazy because you're for
No,
sure
what?
getting
Jerome Bettis kill you, dude.
Jerome Bettis, if you hit him as hard as he hit, like as you can,
That's a tank. You're talking about, I assume you said get run over by Jerome Bettis. I'm assuming we're talking about like Pittsburgh Steelers Jerome Bettis. That guy's eating me for breakfast.
A horse is gonna kick you fucking 7 feet in the air and break your ribs. What do you? A horse is 1,000 pounds. Jerome Bettis is 250. What do you think?
It says you said kick. He's not gonna like pounce on me like Jerome Bettis running me over. He's gonna kick me once, and it's gonna bruise the fuck out of my body, and I'll be done with it. Jerome Bettis could kill me.
Jerome Bettis is gonna run you over once too. What do you think? Jerome Bettis is stronger than a horse?
I don't know. I think he's probably as strong as a horse in his prime. He probably could. I don't know. A horse, obviously, like the quick kick, that is scary to think about. Like the idea of a quick kick from the horse and like just getting fucking knocked out quick.
A horse is a majestic animal. An NFL athlete is a majestic animal too, to be fair. But a horse is 1,000 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, I feel you.
Well, I'll go. I know I'm gonna get fucked up. Maybe a concussion. A horse kicks you like right in the ribs in the wrong spot or in the chest, like in between heartbeats. Like you could die, dude.
Maybe, yeah. But Jerome Bettis, I think, could kill you too. I don't know. All right, I think I maybe stand corrected. When you say it like that, I think maybe I'll take Jerome Bettis because at least I could try to tackle him at the same time, maybe. And with the horse, it's just like boom, and then it's just like you're done.
Shattered. All right,
is that the last Hot Corner question?
Yeah, it is, because we're going to get into some horses, Kentucky Derby, and the verbal flop. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
You know me. This is when I get my snack.
Get your snack, bro. I'm going to eat some snack, too.
I took some time off just to see the world. Island hopping in my Jordan 4s. Box logo tee. Bermuda shorts. Clean resorts full of tan women. Cooler filled, cold bottles in them, stretched out like the 7th inning. My 7th heaven is some miles away, but I'll just sit here, American dream in this beach chair today. Leave my troubles in the past years and try and stay humble when the clouds clear. Cause nobody was around here when everybody doubted, yeah. Now it's open letters and gift mail, kind words from strangers that don't sit well. And every chick I meet is out to get mail. I feel safe on this island. All my thoughts are locked away safe on this island. A treasure full of diamonds, gems for the rhyming. I drop them every now and then. Black and mild smoke through the wind. Ashes on the pages of my journal made from snakeskin. Staring in the ocean where the grapes swim. I'm thinking about jumping in. Came a long way from jumping 10. Switches on the Impala. Tires so skinny I was bouncing on rims.
Popping my collar.
Listening to Penn. UGK-ish. I was underground then. Still underground now. Difference is I'm under palm trees. Not trying to be found.
Yo. Getting into the verbal flops.
Get it,
so the first thing I want to talk about is the Kentucky Derby coming up this weekend. One of the greatest trainers in the history of horse racing, Bob Baffert. He received a 2-year ban from Churchill Downs for, doping scandal with his horses. He fought this ban hard. He talked about how he didn't regret it. And the 2-year ban was moved to 3 years. It just was held up in court. So now we have, the best racehorses in the world by the best trainer aren't going to compete this weekend. And it's kind of a situation where is Bob Baffert the verbal flopper for not just saying, hey, I was wrong, I regret what I did, take the 2 years and just move on and come back? Or is it Churchill Downs? Because his horses are still running at the Belmont. They're still running at the Preakness. They're still running overseas in Japan and Saudi Arabia. It's just the Kentucky Derby. So who do you think is in the wrong here?
It's tough. Obviously, each place is going to have its own set of laws, which I respect. When you go play at Augusta, the Masters, there's a set of rules to play there or even be a patron there. When you're going to even watch the golf there, there's rules about bringing your cell phone in or food or whatever it might be and stuff like that. So I respect the idea of each place having its own rules, but when it comes to like the idea of the actual participants in what you're doing, like the golfers, or for this case, the horse riders and the horses, if no other place gives a shit about what's happening with that actual horse in terms of the doping or whatever, and people want to see the horse and it's one of the best horses in racing and it draws attention, it draws viewership, which is the goal as well, and it keeps the sport alive, then you shouldn't really care about it because obviously it's not breaking enough laws for everyone else to care about it. So why are you so righteous is kind of the question I have. It would almost be similar to like every course in America allows you to play with this kind of extra kind of golf club, but the only place that doesn't is the Masters. And, you know, if that's the case, that would make no sense because why am I allowed to use this at the US Open? Why am I allowed to use this at the Open Championship or PGA Championship or FedEx Cup, you know, whatever it might be, or Whistling Straits or any of these other courses? Why can I use my extra club there, but not at the Masters? That would just make no sense. And that's why you would never see a law like that. So I feel like it's just inconsistent in terms of the actual riders and being able to see the best product, which is all the riders that are available and, you know, at the top tier, you know, the horses. I feel like that's kind of my take on it.
So while I agree with you about a lot of your take where it's like, okay, let's, you know, why do we have to be the most righteous people? You know,
Right.
these horses were doped, you know, years ago, and the ruling was if he didn't receive any more medical or, you know, doping violations since then, he should be able to compete again. And it comes down to more his pushing back is getting him another year versus, you know, actually failing more tests. The issue that I have is with Bob Baffert, though. Why not just take your punishment, keep your mouth shut? It's like you tell your boy in a relationship who always wants to argue with his girl. Why would I apologize when I've done nothing wrong? Because it gets you
because it keeps the world spinning. Yeah.
Because it gets you in a better spot than you were before you apologize. Even if you don't mean it, if you apologize and you're now happier, your partner's now happier, you know, in this situation, if you're going to have your horses, your owners, your jockeys now compete when you're the trainer, if you just keep your mouth shut, why open your fucking mouth? You know, at some point, there's no winning. You've already lost the 2 years. You're not going to get those 2 years back. At some point, you just got to be, all right, let me just do what I can moving forward to be the best for myself and the people I associate myself with. And in this case, is the animals I associate myself with. Why not
So question, though,
keep your mouth shut?
Quick question. So just to be clear, did they tell him just based on comments that he was not allowed to come back another year, or was there actual proof of the horse doping again and doing the exact same shtick?
There was no proof of the horse doping again. What they said was the integrity of horse racing is being challenged by his nonchalant attitude virtually.
Oh, that's a verbal flop. That's a verbal flop. That's a verbal flop from that right there is done. Unless he doped again and did the exact same wrong actions again and is just repeating the mistake, that would be then a different conversation. But it's a verbal flop from them to think that they should be so righteous and hold that against him based on comments. That could still be his position, but you can't hold that against him if you have no proof that he's done it again. He could still, it's like going to the Yankees and having a position that you don't believe in the shaved beard thing, but you shave your beard because you just joined the Yankees. You may not like it, but you're still going to do it and you still are abiding by the rules. But that doesn't mean the Yankees are going to tax you every time you go out and play baseball now because you just made that comment and you don't like the rule. It's like you're going to abide by the rule, you're not, and like opinions are opinions.
There is a world where both parties are wrong. Like, they said that they were gonna. The ruling was that if he doesn't, you know, fail any more drug testing violations for his horses, that he would be back, and he hasn't, and he's not back. There also is a world where he should just keep his mouth shut and not keep petitioning the ruling, not keep going in public saying he'd do the same thing over again, and then they would be competing this weekend. And the Saudi Arabian princes who own these horses and want them to run this weekend at the biggest horse racing event in the world would have their horses running. You know, we got to realize that at some point in time, being righteous by the Churchill Downs Kentucky Derby Association and being righteous by Bob Baffert, the trainer, they're both wrong. At some
They're
point,
both wrong.
you're best
Bob
off just
Baffert shouldn't be
being.
making big comments and just talking, and then he ends up screwing himself and playing with fire. And those people shouldn't be making the comments. It's a verbal flop on both ends. You're right. Your case stands. I think both of them cancel each other out. They're both verbal flopping, and at the end of the day, Backford loses because Churchill Downs will continue. The race will continue. Someone will win the Kentucky Derby, and they won't be there. So at the end of the day, like, you can play with fire all you want, but if you don't hold the position and you're not hosting the race and it's not your race, then you're fucking lost.
This is a classic lesson, and if you don't have any leverage,
You have nothing to gain. Yeah. And if you have something to lose and nothing to gain, then keep your mouth shut. It's all about your leverage. The course has nothing to lose. They're hosting the race, whether or not they say something or not, or hold you to your words or not. So better to shut up and just let it, like, bygones be bygones, and just do what you're going to do in the dark and just fuck everyone up on the race paths, whatever you want to call it, on the race.
I mean, how I hope this ends is that Baffert's horses win the Belmont and the Preakness, and then you
and everyone will be like, why are they
shot.
not? Yeah, exactly. They could have been the Triple Crown guys, and you guys suck.
Yeah,
that would throw it in their face a little bit.
That's what I'm cheering for. So we could talk about this in a few months and be like, yep, you should have just kept your mouth shut, Buttolini. But
that's a fire verbal flop. But hell yeah. So we have one more verbal flop for this fucking week, and again, with these stadiums thinking they're cool and buying these tickets, PNC Arena, which is in North Carolina, is preparing for the matchup between the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Rangers. And at the end of the day, these places can, try to buy up all the tickets, but essentially what they said in there under the tickets, if you were to go and try to buy seats right now to PNC Arena, in Raleigh, North Carolina, it would say sale to this event would be restricted to residents of North Carolina, South Carolina, and southern parts of Virginia. Residency will be based on credit card billing address. Orders by residents outside North Carolina, South Carolina, and southern parts of Virginia will be canceled without notice and refunds given. So be clear. If you're a fan and your billing zip code is outside of any of those areas because you moved away with your family, let's say on military, or you did whatever you did for your career or whatever it was, and you're a massive fan, you cannot return home and go to any of these games because, sorry, your billing zip code just does not associate to where you live. So take it from me. Let's say MSG did something like this. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm the biggest Knicks fan there ever was. I'll put my card up against anyone. Okay. I got the pictures and the proof to prove it. So does that mean I can't go to the game because my billing zip code right now is 94040? Like, is that what we're doing?
I mean, that's first and foremost, I just want to say I commend you going to like the military movement as like your first.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna because the point is to make them feel like shit.
If you serve our country and risk your life and have to,
and you have to move
in another city,
you're a diehard Carolina Hurricane fan. Can't go in person. Sorry, don't matter.
Let me finish my spiel. If you're a diehard New York Rangers fan and you served your country in Iraq and had to relocate to a base in North Carolina, now you can't go to the game if you kept your original building. Like, I love that you took it to the military.
Nth degree.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. Always.
Awesome.
I'm gonna make them feel like shit because at the end of the day, this is the dumbest fucking rule ever. And people that want to go are gonna go, and they're gonna figure out a way to get there. And if someone's visiting from New York to North Carolina, chances are they might know somebody down there and have someone else buy the fucking tickets. So it's just like a whole farce.
Of course, I think that's true too. But also, like I mentioned this off the air, this has been going on for a long time. This is not at all the first example of this. Since secondhand ticket brokers have been around, like I brought up, what the first one that I remembered was there was a fan who launched a lawsuit against the NFL, the Seahawks, and the Seahawks Stadium for not selling tickets to anyone outside the Seattle area, because he wanted to buy a seat and go there and felt it was discrimination. They lost that lawsuit. It's a private corporation. They have the rights to do what they want to do. And these things, there is something to the legality of it, though. I do believe that it does become where we always are talking about, even gambling in sports, where competitive advantage comes into play. How are you going to say, like, oh, players can't bet this and that? but also say, oh, we can restrict fans from certain areas to going to a game, and say you're not messing with the competitive advantage for the product on the ice, on the court, on the field. So it is a really like kind of crazy, intricate topic to talk about, like capitalism versus competitive advantage versus monopoly in these sports. It's very convoluted. I
I
think
like it. I also like it because at the same, in some sense, obviously, it's a totally messed up rule. It makes no sense. But I like it to the point of promoting homegrown fans, is what I'll say. And you still there, John?
yeah, I'm here. You're frozen though. I see your face frozen on the screen.
Yeah, both of us are frozen right now. I don't know why we're frozen, but let's see
You're
if it figures
buffering
it,
now.
let's see if it figures it out. I'm not sure why we're frozen right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean nothing changed on my end. You're buffering now. Now you're just a black screen.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that's happening right now. This is weird. Trying to figure out what's going on. I didn't touch anything or do anything. I was just sitting here, but my whole thing is frozen. The whole website is frozen. Damn.
Well, I can hear you. You could
I
probably
can hear
just
you.
push through. We're at the end of it now. We could get into the victory formation right from here. We've gone over this verbal flopping. It is a crazy, crazy law, though, about how Ticketmaster can check into people's credit card billing addresses and refute their ability to buy tickets in certain cities. So we're going to wrap it up with victory formation. First and foremost, I just want to say shout out to Travis Kelce getting 2 more years at $34.25 million. Absolutely crushing it, getting another $17 million a year towards the end of his illustrious career. I also want to say shout out to Taylor for being like, no, you better still get money. I ain't going to be your cash cow. And I think we shut it down there. To all the hotheads, dreamers, Sixers, we love you. Stay up.
Let me see if I can get John back here. Hang with us here, Road 26ers hot sets. Hang with me here. Hey, there we go.
Yeah, I
Good?
basically just I rapped while you were in here, but we'll get back to it. The victory formation, Travis Kelce, 2 years, 34 million. What are you thinking?
Yeah, unbelievable. Highest paid tight end of all time, if I'm not mistaken. And you know, I think that at the end of the day, he'll go down as the best tight end of all time. You know, if not him, then him and Tony Gonzalez. You know, 1A, 1B. But pretty unbelievable career. What a year for this fucking guy. Taylor Swift winning the Super Bowl back-to-back years, and now he's got this contract. He's all set.
Do you think
podcast booming too? Shout out to the podcast as well.
Do you think Taylor was like, you know,
It's chump change? It's chump change.
Like no, I'm not like we're signing a prenup if you get married, so make sure you get yours. Like,
yeah,
because it's not like you know Tom was taking less when Giselle was getting money.
She probably spent that money last year on touring with her plane and whatever else. Like, you know, like
$34 million for her is probably like
chump change.
2 months.
Kidding?
Maybe. 2 months,
Yeah.
maybe.
Huh. She goes on tour yeah. She's in the B category now, I think. Yeah. I think it's just her and like Drake is probably right there, I'm assuming, and like you know, like these people are out of here. Like it's totally the level than a guy that's trying to get guaranteed money in the NFL. Like my God.
Yeah. But
even Kelce.
Yeah, no, but he's just like, oh, let me get another little 35 mil before I shut it down. And that's good for the Chiefs too, you know, to rattle it back to sports because we aren't Swifties. Well, I'm a little bit of a Swiftie. I don't know about you. I don't want to label you.
I like folklore a little bit. I like some of that stuff. But in general, I'm not like a Swiftie. My girl's a Swiftie though, for sure. Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
So,
she's a girl.
you know,
and she
course.
exists.
Yeah, I'm engaged to her. I'm engaged to her. I'm engaged to her. So I hope she exists. You know,
if she's a girl and she exists, she's a Swiftie. That's my point. Not that. Like, up your girlfriend.
I thought you were saying like talking about if I have a girl.
No, I'm glad that you took it that way. That was very funny.
That's funny. That's funny.
But I was just saying, if she's a girl and she exists, she's a Swiftie, pretty much.
Yeah, that's the combo.
But we love Travis. We're happy for him. He was terrible on the Showtime show that he acted on real quick in outer space, but he's a good podcaster.
I didn't see that. Yeah, he's a great podcaster with his brother. Yeah, shouts out to those guys. They're doing their thing and grassroots podcast, which I always respect. But we'll lock it up for tonight, Hots. It's always a pleasure, bro. Sorry for the technical diffimunities, Hots, Heads, and Dreamers out there and all that. I'm glad we got.
It gave me an opportunity to like, all right, this is what I do. Zach's not here. I'm gonna finish what we started and then shut it down.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. But we'll be back next week.
We love you.
That's it. We'll be back next week. Hots, Heads, Dreamers, all you kids out there, stay locked. Enjoy the weekend and go Knicks and go Rangers. Obviously, we already knew that though. You already knew that.
Read some Aristotle, you know, study.
Yeah, a little bit of Schopenhauer, maybe a little Schopenhauer. Eat some vegetables. Yeah, get your fruits.
Yeah. Rene Descartes' radical theory of doubt.
Maybe some lasagna. Peace.